G'day, 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 you absolute bunch of bloody legends out there in internet land. This is your old mate Loserbum back on your screen with some quality, high production value internet content. So today I'm going to do something which I'm not sure I've done before on the channel. I'm going to do a meta video. By meta, I mean that this video is actually about the previous video which I did. This one, it was a live stream called Another Toasted Epic Event. And because it was a live stream and for other reasons which I'll explain now, it might have been a bit confusing to people who are not into the whole streaming Fortnite things. So not my normal audience, my super fans exactly know what was going on. This is for other people watching this video, maybe slightly older. This one actually is for you boomers. Okay, boomer, you all right out there? I'm going to explain slowly what happened on the previous video. Speaking of boomers, in a previous video I made a mistake, and because I googled and I thought I was Generation X, and then I saw this text up here saying, oh, boomers roughly from the 60s to the late 70s, and I thought, oh my god, I'm a boomer. That was terrible. But that was actually a mistake. So another tip for you guys: remember to use Google image search. Remember, use Google reverse image search. Remember to use Google as a calculator. We'll do that later maybe. And then also, big tip, don't trust what it says on this look ahead screen where they just pull out a little bit of the article. It's easy to misread. So if you go to the actual Wikipedia, it defines Generation X as people born from 65 to 80 of the last millennium. Or some people say 1960 and as late as 1984. With both of those definitions, I'm 1971. I'm right in the middle of that. So I am Generation X. I'm cool, and I'm definitely not a boomer. Right? Remember that. You are not allowed to say okay boomer to me, not even in the comments. Anyway, I'll put a link to that streaming video which I'm talking about here down in the comments, so you can look at that and understand what I'm talking about here. So it's a stream. It was actually a video stream, which why is a bit messing. Streaming technology on the internet today is absolutely amazing. Anyone like me, all I need is a laptop and an internet connection, and I can make my own TV channel. That's what happened. I pressed some buttons here, and then I was broadcasting my video from my camera and the stuff that was on my screen live to the entire internet. Millions of people could have watched this channel. They could have. There was only like 6 watching it, and I have no clue who they are because it was a spontaneous thing. I think they're actually Russian bots which just scan every new stream. But, you know, in theory, I could have had millions of people watching my stream. So that was one of the reasons why that video is a bit messy, because I hadn't done streaming in a while. Streaming is live. You have to do it right there. You can't do another take. And I hadn't done it in a while. I hadn't prepared. And the reason I hadn't prepared was that it was for an actual event, a Fortnite event, which was happening right then and right now. It's like real life. It happens right here and right now. You cannot rewind. You cannot stream it on Netflix or Amazon Prime. When the moment comes, and you have to do it in the present. So that's why that was all a little bit messy. So that event was in Fortnite. For you boomers out there, Fortnite is a video game. This is the Fortnite video game. That's what it looks like. It's basically a first-person multiplayer shooter, so that's my guy. I'm going to be in the game in a moment. I get dropped into a game, I have some guns and some things, and I can shoot other people, and it's a lot of fun. As you can see, it's quite cartoony. The thing about Fortnite is, at first it's a battle royale game, so that's a special game mode where you drop 100 people into a game, and whoever is the last one to survive, like last man standing, king of the hill, wins that particular match. So battle royales, nothing special. Fortnite didn't actually invent it. Fortnite was more of a 3D first-person shooter tower defense game. But when the Battle Royale mode started becoming popular, they just activated it on their game, and they just took the world by storm. The game that started it, PUBG, fun as well, but they didn't have 1/100th of the success. It's not fair. Fortnite didn't invent it, and they're getting all the money. But it's like this. And when Fortnite started, when I started playing it almost 2 years ago, there were still some real 3D shooting gamers, the 3D shooter multiplayer community. People play like Call of Duty, and they talk military talk on their headsets like Roger Wilco, I'm going on left. They take it very seriously, and they were complaining at the time how Epic, the people who make Fortnite, were making the game for kids cartoony. I mean, this here does not look like a very militaristic game, right? I'm in a bus which is floating off a Santa thing. So, but they know their target audience, and Fortnite is taking the leader, and they're making millions. I saw 2018, so last year, they made like $2.4 billion. That's 9 zeros after the 2 with just this game. And by the way, here you can see my parachute, which is a Star Wars TIE fighter. That's actually quite relevant. So yeah, I fly, I land, and then I can shoot and whatever. You watch my other videos. No need to go into the game. But the Star Wars is important because so there's events in Fortnite where at a very specific time, which they announce ahead of time, you can log into the game and something happens. It's a special event. There was already one announced when this new version, this new so-called season or episode season came out. I call it episode 11. I did a video about that as well, link down in the comments. And back when that happened, like the game stopped and there was just a black hole on the screen, which was probably on purpose. But during the event, millions of people could not log on because Fortnite makes this much money because they have 50 million or more registered players. They have up to 8 million players at the same time in the game. The scale is utterly massive and is a really, really good way to destroy your servers. Now, if you have an event where instead of just 8 million, you're going to have 24 million people trying to squeeze through the same door, like when they announced Season 2, the game just locked up and people couldn't play. People were really upset and really angry, and I'm sure it cost Epic a lot of money, right? Because at the time, it wasn't just Fortnite that was broken. The entire Epic store was not available, and the Epic store, there's hundreds of other games. If you want to spend money and buy stuff from Epic, and that's how they made their money, the store has to be up, and the store was down for like 6, 7, 10 hours. It must have cost them millions. So that's why they already had, you know, they've been burnt before on an event. So you'd think on this new event, which happened this week, they would have been better prepared. And that event, and by the way, I have some theories about in my other video from the last event about what went wrong. You can watch that, link down in the comments. And by the way, to make this these kind of games, to have something which can support 8 million people at the same time, you can't use the same technology which we've been using the past 10, 15, 20, 30 years on, well, 20 years on the internet. You need reactive technology. You need akka. I've got a good friend of mine, Pablo Azul. Shout out to Pablo Azul, hire him, he's the man. You need akka. I'll put a link down in the comment to my Twitter, to a tweet from the people who make this, who support this technology. Fortnite runs on akka, and it's the only way to make software which scales to 8 million, 50 million. And that's the future, right? There's more and more internet around. When something takes off, in 5 years, there'll be a new game, a new app or something. And everybody, there's going to be 500 million Chinese and 300 million Indians who all want to play it. You're going to have to design software to have like literally 500 million people supporting it. akka, reactive architecture, is the way to go. So anyway, after the last toasted event, which must have cost them millions, you'd think that they would have been prepared this time. They asked Joe the programmer, hey Joe, this one's going to work, right? And Joe says, yeah, I think so. Joe was wrong. So the event that they had was Star Wars. So there's a new Star Wars film coming out. Apparently, I don't even know what it's called, not that I care. So they had the event. I guess Walt Disney went and gave them a lot of money to Epic, to Fortnite, and at 2000 on this particular day, something pretty awesome happened. By the way, sorry, important when I'm doing this, since I'm doing a meta video today. So Fortnite, apart from giving Epic a ton of money, Fortnite has brought to forth many, many streamers. So remember how I was explaining live streamers before? Well, there's a people whose entire livelihood is that they stream Fortnite. They play Fortnite live and people watch them, and they're very good, and they like me. They have their little video and they talk about it, and they have millions of people watching it, and they have people who give them money. They get money from YouTube. They get money from Epic. There's a guy called Ninja who plays fantastically well and wins the world championship and whatnot. He makes millions every year just playing Fortnite and streaming about it. There's another guy, and that's him over here. His name is Lannon. His YouTube name is Laserbeam, so he's a Fortnite streamer from Australia. And Laserbeam, he was the inspiration for me on this channel. Big secret, you heard it here first. It wasn't a big secret, it says so in the intro video. So shout out to Lannon, shout out to Laserbeam. I'll put a link to his channel down in the description as well. So, and this is what happened. I couldn't watch, oh sorry, this is the event, right? This is what's happening. And yeah, there was like a Millennium Falcon flying around in the game, right? And it lands, you know, it's like it's shooting around. It's actually being chased by TIE fighters. It shoots down the TIE fighters, and then it lands. And then a hologram comes out, like a stormtrooper, and there's a hologram who's like a bit of an MC. People are running around and emoting and saying, "Yeah, Star Wars, Fortnite, it's so awesome!" And so Walt Disney must have paid millions to Epic to host this particular event. And then after a while, another character comes up. That skinny dude there on the right, where is he? There he is. That is an in-game avatar of J.J. Abrams. He's the director. He's the guy who has been directing the last few Star Wars movies, the absolute Star Wars god. And he's like in the game doing a live interview. Everybody's losing their mind. Well, everyone except me, because this is what I had, right? Another event 3 months after the previous event, which was toasted, and I couldn't sign in. They had managed to screw it up again. Well done, Joe. I went to this site which detects outages. Hang on, let me get back. I went to this site that describes outages, and it wasn't just me, right? If you look, hang on, where is it? Yeah, Fortnite login issues. This is the actual Epic site, which says, oops, we have some problems with our login. If I go further, there was a spike. There was like 800 people reporting within minutes that the game had a problem. And yeah, I kept at it, I kept trying, but for like 2 hours I couldn't get into the game and I couldn't get into the Epic store. So well done, Epic, they toasted again. So that's why that video was so chaotic, because I couldn't sign in. In the end, I was like talking over, and I actually watched the video via Laserbeam's channel, and he was losing his mind because it was all so awesome. And after 3 minutes I gave up. So yeah, and that's what happened last time. And you got to think, like you know, Fortnite revenue in a month, maybe 455 million. It says that they make in 1 month, right? So by being down for 2 hours, right, you couldn't buy any stuff. That's saying a month divide by 30 days divide by 24 hours. They're still, whoops, that didn't work quite right. You know, they must have lost just on Fortnite revenue, let alone all the other games. They must have been losing something like $63,000 in an hour. So 120 at least during that time just on Fortnite. But they got hundreds of games. So again, due to their cock-up, epic cock-up, legendary, you know, in front of the entire world cock-up. This is like, you know, it's the World Cup final, and they're about to kick off and something goes wrong and they don't have a football. That's the level of cock-up they had right here. They must have lost $1 million, $2 million. And Disney is a pretty nasty company. Forget the Mickey Mouse and the Frozen, everybody happy-go-lucky. They got lawyers. They probably have hitmen. So I guess somebody at Epic got shot. And they probably had to pay back some of the advertising millions which they paid, which Walt Disney paid to Epic. Right, I think that's enough for today. You learned something about streaming, you learned something about Fortnite, you learned something about Ninja, Laserbeam, you learned something about akka and reactive technology and the future of the internet. It's been a pleasure on my side to talk to you. Normal content will resume with the next video. You're all a bunch of bloody legends. Oh, almost forgot. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Remember to tell your friends to like, share and subscribe. I'm Loserbum, you're all a bunch of bloody legends, and I'm out of here.